everyone, welcome to Jolly Molly TV. Today we're going to do another fun block in Kimberbell's A Quilty Little Christmas wall hanging project. In today's video we're going to stitch out this beautiful Christmas tree block right here. So if you grab your plastic pouch system that you have labeled Christmas tree, let's go over to the embroidery machine and let's get started stitching. All right, we're at the machine. I'm excited to make this tree block. I've got a bobbin with white thread down below, and I put white thread on the top of my machine because my fabric that I'm going to pull from my plastic pouch system is going to be a white with green, and it's my plastic pouch system that I've labeled Christmas tree. Okay. So I have a little tiny piece of applique. This is from the kit, so this is pink. This is going to be for the trunk. I'm going to put that off to one side. This is my main background fabric that I fused with a piece of my fusible Palon 860. So I'm going to do all of the steps up to and probably including the quilting and this white thread. So it'll kind of go into the background and let the Christmas tree shine and be the focal point. All right, so I'm going to put that fabric off to one side. I need a piece of water-soluble topping. All right, if you're using the kit, we're also going to be needing a piece of, a piece of velveteen. And this is where the water-soluble comes in. This piece of velveteen needs to be protected while we do our stitches on top of it. So the water-soluble topping will help protect it and help keep the stitches on top of the velveteen instead of sinking down in. So that's why we need a piece of water-soluble topping. Put that to one side, and then our piece of velveteen from the embellishment kit. You need to get that out and then put that off to one side. And then you need a piece of batting from your pre-cut batting stash that measures 7 by 9 inches. And then we're going to put that off to one side. Okay. So that is good. I have my 9.5 by 9.5 inch hoop filled with a piece of the poly no-show stabilizer. Because we're doing the quilting and the block by block method on this block, we need a little bit bigger room than the design to stitch this out. So I need my 9.5 by 9.5 inch hoop to do that. Okay, the quilting design is 6.5 by 8.5. So that's when I have to go up because 8.5 inches will not fit in my 8 by 8 inch hoop. So I had to go into my 9.5 by 9.5. All right, that's so that we can do the quilting design. Okay, so now let's go to the screen cam and let's load the design. I have a Baby Lock Destiny in case you have something similar. You can follow along. I'm going to go to my embroidery module and my flash drive because that's where I keep all my files. Quilty Christmas, and I'm going to go to the quilting design. Okay, I am going to be looking for Christmas 14. And I need the 6.5 by 8.5 inch design, otherwise known as what they call 6 by 8. There we go. That's what we want. That'll be fun. Let's click set. It brings it in automatically. Center, don't have to do anything to it. I'm going to add the main embroidery design on top. Go back to my Quilty Little Christmas, back to the main quilt. And I am looking for the Christmas tree, which is under the Quilty Wishes subfolder number 3. I'm looking for this one right here, which is a 5 by 7 Christmas tree. Now, if you don't have a 9.5 by 9 inch hoop, okay, you can still make this block. You just won't quilt the quilting stitches first. And then you can use your 5 by 7 hoop. Okay, I have to go bigger because the quilting design wants it to be larger. But this design itself, stitched out, is 3.74 by 6.87. So if you don't do the quilting, you can use this in your 5x7 hoop. All right. I'm going to click set. It brings it in perfectly centered. I don't have to do anything to it. I'm going to click embroidery. And we are ready to go. So let's go back to the hoop cam. Here we go. So I've got white thread up on top. All right, so I'm going to put the foot down and stitch out the placement line for the batting. Here we go. Okay, now I'm going to lay the batting down, making sure that I cover all of that placement line. Move it over a little bit this way. That looks good, as does that. So let's put the foot down and let's tack down the batting. All right, so now I want you to take the hoop off the machine, take this over to the table, and I want you to trim away all of the excess batting from around all 4 sides of that stitch line, and I'll meet you right back here. All right, I've got that all trimmed up. So now let's go ahead and put the foot down and let's stitch out the placement line. There we go, for the fabric. Okay, now I'm going to lay my fabric down. And if you have directional fabric, make sure you have the top up here and the bottom down here. This is from the kit, so it really doesn't matter which way I have it. But I'm going to place it around all of that placement line, and I'm just going to feel for the batting, because I can pretty well tell that I have oodles of fabric on each side, so I don't need to worry, because all this extra on the side is going to get trimmed off when we finish the block. So just feel for the edges of the batting, and you can kind of tell that you have plenty of room all the way around the outside edge. All right, so let's put the foot down and let's tack down this fabric. I still have my white thread up on top. Okay, I got all the extra little fuzz pieces off there, so the fabric is nice and clean. So now I'm going to do the quilting. I love this part. It's going to be a 4-minute in real life stitch out, and I'm going to do it in the white because I want it to blend in with this fabric. This fabric's kind of busy, and then the Christmas tree will be the center and the focal point. All right, so make sure you have the color thread up at the top of the machine that you want to do your quilting in. And let's enjoy this stitch out. Again, it's 4 minutes in real life. Here we go. Isn't that cool? I know it's really hard to see, but hopefully you can see the quilting here. Isn't that amazing with the Christmas ornaments? Look at all that. Very cool. I love Kimberbell's background quilting designs. They just make that block extra special. All right, so now I'm going to switch my thread out to match my piece of fabric for the trunk, because we're going to be stitching a placement line for this little piece of trunk fabric. So I'm going to put pink thread up above. If you have the kit, I would do the same. Find a matching pink or coordinating pink thread that you like. If you're using your own stash, then pick a thread that will match the color fabric that you have for your little piece of trunk for the Christmas tree. And let's stitch this out. It says it's a 1-minute stitch out, but I don't even think it's a 1 minute. It's probably more like less than 30 seconds. If that. Make that 15. Not even 10 seconds. It's not even 15 seconds. It's 10 seconds. All right. That was quick. All right, so now I'm going to put the fabric down, covering that placement line. Okay, of course the fabric is facing up. Put the foot down, and because it's such a small piece, I'm going to use my stylus to hold it down while the machine tacks it down, because I don't want to get my fingers that close. Here we go. And then it's just going to tack that down twice. That was easy peasy, huh? Yes, it was. Okay, so now I'm going to take the hoop off the machine very gently, take it over to the table, and I'm going to trim away the excess fabric from around the outside of that stitch line, and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so I've got the fabric trimmed up. Now I'm going to still use that pink thread I have up on the top. I'm going to put the foot down, and I'm going to stitch out the satin outline around the outside of the trunk. Here we go. Okay, cool. All right, so now I got a decision to make. We're going to be doing the Christmas tree here in a second. And I'm just going to first clean this all off of all these little straggler pieces of velveteen dust. Got it. Okay. So the decision I have to make, and you have to make too, is which color green do you want to accent and be the outside of your Christmas tree? Okay. I don't think I want to go brighter. No, it's more of a contrast. Let's see. I'm thinking this one. This one might be a little dark, but it does tie in. What do you think? Let's see. You need to pick your color green. And you know what? If I can't decide, I'm going to puddle it. And puddle it just means pull off some of the thread and see how it lies, because it'll lie differently. See? And I actually know I like this better, even though on the spool it might be too dark. I think it's going to give a real cool Christmas green color to that versus this one. So puddling it actually gives you a better idea of how it's going to look in the final stitch out. So see, if I didn't puddle it, then I would have gone with the other one. So you need to choose which color green you want for your tree. And we're going to put that in now. We'll use it for the placement line, and then we'll use it again later for the satin stitches. All right, which will go around the Christmas tree. But for right now, we're just going to put it in, and we're going to stitch out the placement line for the velveteen. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this little straggler thread, and then I'm going to take it off the hoop just so I can pull it toward the camera so you can see a little bit easier what I'm doing. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to put my velveteen down, and I've got it right side up. Okay, this is the piece that came in the kit, and it pretty well fits this outline from here to here pretty perfectly. So again, I don't pre-cut any of my embellishments, but this tree velveteen right here is like a perfect fit. Okay, bringing it down a teeny bit. Make sure I've got the top and the bottom covered and the sides. All right. Now, I do this step a little bit differently than what the Kimberbell instructions say. I go ahead and I put down my piece of wash away topping right on top of this. Okay? Because what I want to do is, instead of tacking down the velveteen and then trimming it and then tacking or taping down a wash away, I'm going to go ahead and literally tack down my wash away at the same time as I'm doing the velveteen. All right, so I'm kind of saving one step by doing it all at once. And I'm just going to take a tiny piece of tape, ever so tiny, just to keep the top and bottom in place. I will hold the rest of it as I go with my stylus. Okay, this way I'm going to tack everything down, and I won't have to worry about having the top, the wash away topping taped separately and loose. It's all going to be tacked down in this stitch. Okay, so I'm going to put my foot down. I've got my green thread still up in the top. I need to put my hoop back on the machine. I do that every once in a while. Let's put the foot down and let's tack down the velveteen and the wash away topping at the same time. All right, here we go. There you go. All right, I like that. Like that a lot. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tape off. Okay, so the wash away stabilizer is in its place. I am just going to do a cut here. Just a rough cut of the wash away topping. Okay, and I'm going to cut it so it's still outlining with the big piece of velveteen. So now what I want you to do is with a pair of curved scissors, I want you to trim both the wash away stabilizer and the velveteen just close around. Don't nick the stitches. Go all the way around and trim the excess away from that stitch line. And I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so I've trimmed both of those up, the velveteen and the wash away topper, and I got lots of velveteen fuzz. So just take a piece of your Scotch tape and clean all that up so it doesn't get meshed in with the rest of your stitching. There we go. Make that nice and clean. Get the majority. If you can't get all, just get the majority. So that way it doesn't bounce around like jelly beans and then get in to your stitches. Okay, I just checked my bobbin. I'm good to do the satin stitch outline. Get all my Scotch tape here all cleaned up. Okay, so that looks good. It's going to do a fairly large satin stitch all the way around. But I think this one needs to be trimmed just a little bit more. There you go. Yeah. Okay. That looks good. All right, I'm happier with that. Okay, so I'm going to use the same green thread that I have up in the top of my machine. And this is a 6-minute in real life stitch out, and it's going to do a satin edge all the way around the outside of that Christmas tree. All right, we ready? Let's put the foot down and enjoy the stitch out. I love satin stitches. I know I've said that before, but it just finishes things off so elegantly. Love it. All right, so now we're going to do the garland. Now, Kimberbell is suggesting like a cream or an ivory, and I think I want a white garland. I like things a little brighter, so I think I'm going to do mine in white. You choose the color garland you would like, and let's put that in the top of your machine, meaning put that thread in the top of your machine. And we're going to stitch out the garland. It's about a 6-minute in real life stitch out. This will be pretty. All right. So thread your needle. Make sure you don't have any loops. There we go. Let's put the foot down and let's stitch out the garland. Isn't that cool? I have to show you this. Isn't that cool? I love how it's really starting to come together. Just so cool. All right, so now I need to put a green thread in for the holly leaves. And I want to make sure that it's bright enough that it's going to show up on the green velveteen. Remember, the green is a dark green. So I want these holly leaves to be a little bit brighter so that they will show up nicely on top of the velveteen. So pick a brighter or a lighter color of green for your holly leaves. Put that thread up above. And this is a 4-minute in real life stitch out. Make sure we don't have any loops. All right, let's go. It is really coming together. All right, so now we have 2 stitches left to do. We have berries, which we're going to do now, and then we have the star. So you're almost done with this one, all right? So you got this. So I'm going to put a red thread for my berries, and I'm going with a little bit lighter red versus my darker. I think the berries would look better as a lighter red. So that's the thread I'm going to put up above. You choose your color thread that you want your berries to be. Put that thread up above. Make sure you don't have any loops. And this is only a 2-minute stitch out. Let's add some berries to this tree. Very pretty. Okay, so the last stitch out we have to do is the star. And I'm going to do a gold thread from my star up on top. I think that would be super pretty. You could also do a silver, whatever color you like. So put that thread up in the top of your machine. And we're going to stitch out the star. It's only a 1-minute in real life stitch out. And I see a straggler. You see a straggler? Yep, let's get that off. All right, you ready? Let's stitch out the star. Very pretty. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And of course, it'll look different once we take that off, but we're going to do that here in a few minutes. Isn't that pretty? All right, so now let's take the hoop and the block over to the table, and I'm going to show you how to finish up this block. Okay, we're at the table, and I love the way this block turned out. Isn't that cool? Okay, let's go ahead and we'll trim this block up first, and then I'll show you how to deal with the water-soluble topping, all right? So this block is going to measure 6.5 inches by 8.5 inches. And we're going to look at this outer stitch line here to measure to make sure that that is going to be our guide for how we trim this block up. And from this line to this line is just shy of 6.5. And from the top line to the bottom line is just shy of 8.5. So that's how we're going to trim this block up. Okay, so I'm going to look for that stitch line and I'm going to put my ruler down. This stitch line is fairly straight, so we're good. I'm going to line the ruler up right on that stitch line, and then I'm going to go just a hair past it. There we go. Can I see that stitch line? Yes, it's underneath the ruler. So now I can make my cut all the way up. Okay, perfect. I can turn this around. Now I can put the block on my mat, line her up, and then I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 8.5. And I'm going to line this line on my ruler up with the stitch line. And I'm going to line my ruler up with the mat all the way up and over. So it's at 8.5. And can I see that stitch line? Yes, it's just underneath that ruler. So now I can come in here and make my cut. All right, 2 down, 2 to go. So now I'm going to come over here. This is going to be 6.5. So I'm going to go for that stitch line. It's fairly straight. I'm going to line up my ruler, line right here with the block. Can I see that stitch line? Yes, I can. It's just under the ruler and make my cut. And I'm going to come over here and line up the block on my mat. 2, 4, 6.5. Line this ruler up on the block. And there we go. Line the ruler line here up with the mat. Can I see that stitch line? Yes, it's just underneath the ruler and I can make my cut. Awesome. All right. Now, there's one more thing we have to do. We need to expose the velveteen underneath that water-soluble topping. I love this water-soluble topping that I'm using. I actually get it on Amazon, and I'll put a link in the description below because it comes off so smoothly. I rarely even have to get it wet. I can use a seam ripper, and I can start opening the edge. Just go just a little bit under, and it's going to basically free itself up just like that, and exposing the velveteen down below. Get enough so that I have ability to grab it with my fingers, and then I just rip it. Okay. Comes off this way. Okay. I can come in here with the seam ripper. I can get this piece that's by the berries. I need to get my trash bag. I just use a food bag. This is a Farmer's Boys bag as my paper bag. And I usually tape it to the side of the table so that I can put this stuff right in it ASAP. I don't want my dog to get any of this stuff. I don't think it'll hurt her, but I don't want to take a chance. So I am just going to clean the rest of these. And then any piece that you can't get with your finger, you can get nicely with a pair of tweezers. Pull it up enough. And I got one little piece over here. There we go. Yeah. So that section is clear, except for this piece right down here. Okay, I need to release it first with the seam ripper. There we go. There we go. Okay, we're good. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with these other sections. I'm going to fast forward through this. And then if there's any part that you can't even get with your tweezers, because these are a little bit larger tweezers, you can use a Q-tip, get the Q-tip wet, and then just hold it on that one spot for 20 seconds, and that piece of water-soluble topping will dissolve, all right? So let me fast forward through this, and let's get all of this topping off the block. Okay, so this part right here is a real good candidate for the Q-tip, as is this little top other section there. So let me show you how to do that. Okay, there we go. So I have my little Q-tip. I got both ends wet, and now I'm just literally going to get this wet. It won't take much. And it immediately starts to dissolve, not even 20 seconds. But your instructions will tell you how long to leave it wet. Usually it's under 20 seconds. Okay, that looks good. A little piece right there. And then we just get that wet and it dissolves. Isn't that cool how it does that? Okay, just like that. And poof, it's gone. And I've got the other side. I can see if there's any other section that needs it right over here. This holly leaf. Okay, and this little holly leaf right here. Little areas that you can't get to. And this one right here. Yeah, isn't that cool? And it literally just dissolves. Just like that. Cool. And then I would just lay it to one side to dry. It won't take very long because we didn't get it very wet. But there you go. Isn't that gorgeous with the velveteen? Absolutely love it. So this block is now finished. So I hope you had as much fun making it as I did. This is amazing. So I hope you stay tuned here on Jolly Molly TV for more fun and more adorable blocks in Kimberbell's A Quilty Little Christmas project. And until I see you next time, take care and happy stitching. Bye-bye.